Okay. Have you ever had someone smile at you, lean in, and ask the simplest question? So, tell me about yourself. And your whole personality just left the building?
Yeah, like introducing a stranger, except the stranger is you.
Right? Suddenly you forget where you're from, what you do, that you have hands.
My hands, where do they go?
I usually point them at my coffee like it's an exhibit.
Hi, this is my coffee. We've been together 6 years.
So tonight, friends, we're going to help you fix that. Not with perfect English, with honest English. The kind that, feels like the actual you.
By the end of this episode, you'll have real sentences for tell me about yourself, what do you do, and who are you? The ones that sound warm, not arrogant, not modest, just real.
And to you listening right now, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, pour yourself a coffee. Settle in.
Mia, you say that every episode.
It works every time.
Okay, before we go further, hey friends, welcome back to Cozy English Café. I'm Leo.
And I'm Mia. So glad you're here with us today. So today, Leo, we have a really useful one. Today's episode is called Talk About Yourself with Confidence.
The one most of you have asked for.
So this is a B2 to C1 level episode. The English is a little richer today. But don't worry, we'll keep it slow. Easy to follow.
And if you're a strong B1 listener, you're still very welcome here. Just stretch a little. That's how English grows.
So by the end of today, you'll have real sentences for that moment. When someone says, tell me about yourself, and you actually want to say something honest.
We'll also do our word tour later. 6 lovely phrases you can keep for the rest of your life.
So, take a breath, relax your shoulders. Maybe you're listening on a commute. Maybe you're cooking. Maybe it's late where you are. We're just glad you're here.
Let's settle in.
So, Leo, I want to ask you something. Be honest. When was the last time someone asked you to tell them about yourself, and you actually felt good about your answer?
To be honest? Like, properly honest?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think it's ever happened.
Right? Same.
It's always this little panic. Like, wait, what am I? Where do I start? Do they want my job? My hobbies? Are they being polite? Are they actually asking?
And by the time you finish thinking, you've said your name, your job, and yeah.
The famous and yeah. It's doing so much work.
And yeah is exhausted.
And yeah needs a holiday.
I think part of the problem is that we're so worried about how we'll come across. Like, too much, too little, too modest, too proud.
Come across. That's like the way we appear to someone, right?
Yes, the way other people see you. You can say, I want to come across as friendly, not nervous.
Or, she came across as really confident at the interview.
So come across is about the impression you leave, not what you are, what people perceive.
Nice. Repeat it with us. Come across.
Come across.
And I think the worry of how you come across is what makes us either say way too much or freeze and say way too little.
I do the freezing thing. I once said, I'm Mia and I drink coffee. And then nothing, like I'd run out of facts about my own life.
I'm Leo and I have headphones.
Iconic introduction.
Honestly, if I just said that and walked away, it would be more memorable than what I usually do.
It's true. Your headphones around your neck are basically your personality.
Don't say that.
They're like a permanent badge. Hi, I'm Leo. I listen to things.
Wow.
Sorry. Anyway.
It's fine. So the question is, how do we actually do this? How do we talk about ourselves without sounding mechanical?
I think the first thing is, you don't have to say everything. You just have to open up about one thing.
Open up about? What does that mean exactly?
It means to share something personal, something a little vulnerable, not your CV, like a real thing.
You can say, it took me a while to open up about my real job.
Or, he never opens up about his family.
So opening up isn't telling them facts, it's letting them see one real thing.
Exactly. One small, honest detail. Not, I'm a teacher, more like, I teach kids, and honestly, my favorite part is the questions they ask me at the end of class.
Okay, that's actually charming.
That's the thing. When you open up about something small and specific, suddenly people want to know more.
Repeat it with us. Open up about.
Open up about.
Okay, but here's where I push back gently. Opening up about the wrong thing in the wrong moment is also a disaster.
Like what?
Like, somebody at work says, "Tell me about yourself," and I say, "I have a complicated relationship with my mother."
Yeah.
Then the room just evaporates. Goodbye, conversation.
Fair. So opening up doesn't mean trauma dumping.
Right. It means picking the small, honest thing that fits the room.
Yeah, that's the skill. Not depth. Right-sized honesty.
Right-sized honesty. I like that.
So if someone asks you at a coffee shop, you don't say, "Let me tell you about the year my dog died."
No.
You say, "I'm a writer. I'm bad at it most days, but I love it." That's enough.
That's actually a great example. Specific, honest. Doesn't need to be impressive.
And hey, to you listening right now, try yours. What's the version of that sentence for your life? Not the perfect one, the honest one.
Even just say it in your head. We'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. Because the impressive version, "I'm an award-winning content strategist," sounds like a LinkedIn page.
Right. Nobody wants to talk to a LinkedIn page.
Wait, is my coffee cold?
You've been holding it for like 20 minutes.
It's stone cold.
Are you going to drink it?
That depends. How committed am I to my third coffee rule?
What's the rule?
You stop respecting temperature after the second cup.
Iron law.
Iron law. But there's the other side of this. Sometimes people do have impressive things, and they downplay them so much it becomes a different kind of arrogance.
Downplay it. That's when you make something seem smaller than it is, right?
Yes, less impressive, less important.
Like, oh, the book? It's nothing, just a little side project.
When actually the book is your life's work and won 3 awards.
Right.
You can say, "Stop downplaying it. That was a huge achievement."
Or, he always downplays his job. He runs the whole company.
So downplaying is the opposite of bragging, but sometimes it can be just as awkward.
Because it forces the other person to do the work of admiring you.
Yes, exactly. "Oh no, it's nothing." And now they have to convince you that it's something.
Tiring.
Repeat it with us. Downplay it.
Downplay it. So the question is, how do you talk about something you're proud of without sounding... Wait, let me say that better. Without sounding like you need them to be impressed.
Yeah, that's the question.
Because it's not about impressing them. It's just about being seen, I guess. Letting them actually see you.
Yeah.
That sounded more polished in my head.
No, it works. It just sounded like you were giving a small TED Talk.
Sorry.
I'll allow it. Actually, I had this moment last year at a family dinner. Someone I just met asked me what I do.
What did you say?
I started to say I'm a journalist, which is technically true but feels like a label. And then I just stopped and said, I write about people who are quietly doing brave things.
That's beautiful.
And the woman just lit up. She wanted to know everything. We talked for an hour.
Because you gave her, I don't know, something real, not a job title.
Yeah.
And that's... Wait, was she the aunt with the little dog?
Yes. How do you remember that?
I remember things.
You remember nothing.
I remember dogs.
Fair.
Which brings me to the next thing. Sometimes the best move is to lean into what makes you a little weird.
Lean into. Yes, this is one of my favorite phrases. It means to embrace something fully instead of resisting it.
You can say, lean into your strengths instead of hiding them.
Or, she finally leaned into being a morning person.
So leaning into something is the opposite of apologizing for it.
It's saying, yes, this is who I am, and I'm going to do more of it, not less.
I love that. And honestly, the people who lean in are the ones we remember.
Because they're not hedging, they're committing.
Repeat it with us. Lean into.
Lean into. Oh, Leo, look.
What?
The cat's back, in the window.
She always looks like she's about to write a review.
2 stars. Hosts talk too much about themselves.
Wait, does she have a leaf on her head?
She has a leaf on her head. How?
I think that's just the kind of life she's chosen.
Iconic. Okay, anyway, so leaning into who you are, that's the energy. Then the language gets easier.
To be honest, and I know this is a phrase we use all the time, but to be honest is actually a powerful opener.
To be honest, yes. It's how you signal that you're about to say something real.
You can say, to be honest, I love my job, but it exhausts me.
Or, to be honest, I haven't read that book yet, but I keep meaning to.
So, to be honest is a tiny gift to the listener. It tells them, I'm not performing right now. I'm being real.
And it lowers everyone's shoulders by about an inch.
An inch is a lot.
Repeat it with us. To be honest.
To be honest.
And to you listening right now, try this. Today, in one English sentence, say, to be honest, about something small.
Just see how it feels.
It opens a door.
I think the deeper thing is, when we talk about ourselves badly, it's usually because we're scared.
Of what?
Of being too much. Of taking up space.
Yeah.
So we shrink. We use job titles. We rush through it.
And the irony is, when you shrink, you become harder to see. Not
easier, yeah. That's the thing.
Right.
Trying to be small actually makes people lose interest, not feel more comfortable.
Whereas leaning into who you actually are, even a little, that's...
Wait, actually no, that's not quite what I want to say. It's not magnetic. That sounds performative. It's easier to feel close to someone when they're being themselves.
Yes, better. Less marketing, more...
Presence, yeah.
You stole my line.
I didn't steal it.
You absolutely stole it.
I shared it. Looking back on it, every time I've tried to be impressive in a conversation, I've felt worse afterwards.
Looking back on it. Beautiful phrase. It means reflecting on something after time has passed.
You can say, looking back on it, I was way too modest about that whole project.
Or, looking back on it, I should have just told her how I felt.
So, looking back on it is the gentle version of regret. It's wisdom after the fact.
It's also a beautiful way to open up about a lesson without sounding preachy.
Repeat it with us. Looking back on it.
Looking back on it. Funnily enough, I think the best version of talking about yourself isn't really about you. It's about, what you care about.
What you care about.
Because, okay, when someone tells me what they love, even small things, like their grandmother's bread recipe or just the way light hits their desk in the afternoon, I learn more about them than from any job description.
That's true. The thing you love says everything.
Yes, so instead of just, I'm a student, try, I'm studying engineering, but what I really love is when something I built actually works the first time.
That's not a title, that's a person.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, you're on your third coffee, aren't you?
Don't say anything.
I'm not saying anything.
You're saying something.
I'm just observing the energy.
Right.
Looking back on it, every time you have a third coffee, I think we end up talking about something real.
That is a coincidence.
Is it though?
Okay, moving on. So, okay, if I had to sum this whole thing up.
Yeah?
It's not really about having impressive answers ready.
No.
It's just about being honest, about one or two real things.
And not shrinking.
And not performing.
Right.
I think that's it.
Right-sized honesty.
Yeah. And speaking of clear words, we've got 6 waiting for us. Let's slow them down, make them easier to remember. Welcome to the word tour.
First, a phrase for the way you appear to other people. Come across.
Come across means the way you seem or appear to someone, the impression you leave, not necessarily who you really are inside.
For example, I want to come across as friendly, but I'm actually pretty shy.
Or, she came across as confident at the interview, even though she was nervous.
So, come across is about perception, the impression on the outside.
Nice. Let's say it slowly. Come across.
Come across.
And once you start thinking about how you come across, the next step is letting people see a real piece of you. Open up about.
True open up about something means to share something personal, usually something you've been holding inside.
For example, it took her months to open up about what happened.
Or, I'm finally opening up about why I left my last job.
So, opening up about something is being honest with someone in a way that feels a little vulnerable.
One more time. Open up about.
Open up about.
And opening up doesn't mean making everything you've done seem enormous. Sometimes the opposite. We shrink it down too much. Downplay it.
To downplay something means to make it seem smaller, less impressive, or less important than it actually is.
For example, stop downplaying it. You finished a marathon.
Or, he always downplays his role in the project.
So, downplaying is the opposite of bragging. Sometimes it's modest. Sometimes it's actually awkward.
Repeat it with us. Downplay it.
Downplay it.
And the alternative to downplaying yourself isn't bragging. It's leaning in. Lean into.
To lean into something means to embrace it fully instead of resisting it, to commit to it rather than apologize for it.
For example, she finally leaned into being a quiet person, and her friends noticed.
Or, lean into your strengths, even the ones you think are weird.
So, leaning into something is the opposite of holding back. It's saying yes to who you are.
Slowly. Lean into.
Lean into.
And when you do lean into something, the most powerful first word you can use is to be honest.
To be honest is a small phrase that signals you're about to say something real, not performed, not polite, not measured.
For example, to be honest, I didn't enjoy the party.
Or, to be honest, I'm not sure I want to be a lawyer forever.
So, to be honest is a doorway. It tells the listener, I'm bringing the real version now.
One more time. To be honest.
To be honest.
And finally, the phrase you use after a real moment, when you turn around and see it clearly. Looking back on it.
Looking back on it means reflecting on something after time has passed, usually with a little more wisdom than you had at the time.
For example, looking back on it, that job was making me miserable.
Or, looking back on it, I should have called her.
So, looking back on it is the gentle voice of hindsight, soft, honest, a little wiser.
Slowly. Looking back on it.
Looking back on it.
Beautiful. These 6 phrases can really change the way you talk about yourself in a clearer, warmer, more honest way.
And remember, you don't need to use all 6 at once. Choose 1 or 2. Practice them. Make them yours. Little by little, the English starts to sound more like the real you. So today, remember this. Talking about yourself confidently isn't about being impressive. It's about being honest, right-sized, and real.
Try this in the comments, friends. Finish this sentence. To be honest, when someone asks who I am, I usually...
One sentence is perfect. Honest is even better.
If this episode helped you, share it with one friend who also panics when someone asks, tell me about yourself. And if you're new here, subscribe. We'd love you to come back to the cafe often.
Take care of your English.
Take care of your heart.
This is Mia.
And this is Leo.
Bye for now.